Okay, so I'm going to start a new series of videos. We're going to do NRL records, club by club. Now, I was just watching the Cowboys play the Dolphins in the NRL. The Dolphins put on a cricket score away from home against the Cowboys. And in that head-to-head, the away team always wins. So that means the Dolphins have won 3 times up in North Queensland, and the Cowboys have won twice down in Brisbane against the Dolphins. So that's an interesting stat. But out of this game, firstly, it's the biggest win in Dolphins history in the NRL. And secondly, Jack Bostock scored 4 tries in the match, becoming the first Dolphins player in their short existence in the NRL to do so. And that leads us really nicely into this NRL records series of videos. We've got 17 videos to do because we've got 17 clubs to cover. We're going to start with the Brisbane Broncos, go in alphabetical order, and work our way through the league. So let's dive into the Brisbane Broncos record. So their biggest win all time was a 71-6 versus the Newcastle Knights on the 27th of May 2007. This is the season after they win their last premiership in 2006. So this is when Brisbane had a pretty scary team. Basically half the Queensland team were playing for Brisbane at the time. Their biggest loss was a 59-0 versus the Sydney Roosters in that wooden spoon season of 2020 on the 4th of June. Their highest ever attendance is a 52,347 versus the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles in round 10 of the 2016 season, which is the season after they make the 2015 grand final, obviously against the North Queensland Cowboys. Now, individual records for a while. Most games, Darren Lockyer, 355 between 1995 and 2011. I don't think that record's getting broken somehow. There are no, in my opinion, active Broncos players in their squad right now that are anywhere close to that, and I really don't think any of them are going to reach 355. If I'm being honest, with the way player movement happens now and club loyalty is not what it once was, I think Darren Lockyer's record will be safe for quite some time. Most points, Corey Parker with 1,328. He did that between 2001 and 2016. Again, Adam Reynolds is not going to get close to that with Brisbane, even though he's kicked a lot of goals and scored a fair few tries since he's joined the club. I think Corey Parker's point record is going to be safe for some time. It could get broken. We could have that metronomical kicker and try scorer like a Jerry Croker, for example, who got a fair few more points than that in a similar length of career. So it could potentially disappear, but I think Corey Parker's record is going to be safe for a while. The tries record is held by Steve Renouf, the Pearl, 142 between 1989 and 1999. I could see this disappearing with the rate some players are scoring tries in the NRL, but I can't see at the moment any active Broncos players achieving that feat at the moment. 142 tries in 10 years, that's about 14 tries a year. Although point scoring is up, but it's stood for 25 years. He's had that record now, 26 years. It's stood for a quarter of a century, so it'll be interesting to see if a Broncos player can score at that kind of average rate per season of 14 tries per season. It'll be very interesting to see if that is doable. Now, the most tries in a match, there are multiple players who've done what Jack Bostock did today in the NRL, scoring 4 tries in a match for the Broncos, and Steve Renouf did it 5 times. Huge proportion of his tries overall he did in scoring 4 at a time. He did that 5 times. Corey Oates, who's just recently retired, did it once. Wendell Saylor did it once. Carmichael Hunt did it once. Justin Hodges did it. Dean and Kemp, much was expected of Dean and Kemp as a youngster when he broke through. He did score 4 tries in a match. He's been more successful in the podcast realm and as an entrepreneurial businessman. He had a bit of a journeyman career, but he did do it when he was younger. There was a lot of promise with Dean and Kemp. And Israel Folau has done it as well. And of course, Israel Folau is a highly controversial multi-code athlete. As we know, we've covered Israel Folau to death on this channel. But he did it as well for the Broncos. So there's some pretty good outside backs there who've done it. And Steve Renouf, I think, he's one of the nicest guys ever to play the game. So, and the fact he did it 5 times in itself is ridiculous. The most goals kicked in a match, Corey Parker with 10 versus the Panthers in round 1 of the 2008 season. Corey Parker was a very, very good goal kicker. And for a forward to do that, not many forwards are goal kickers in rugby league. Corey Parker was a very versatile player. And 10 goals in a match. That's a good 20 points, so that's not bad. But the most points in a match goes to Lottie Takiri. He got 26 versus the joint venture Northern Eagles on the 11th of May 2002. Now, of course, the Perth Bears are returning, the former North Sydney Bears are returning in 2027, and of course we've discussed another record against the Manly Sea Eagles. That's an interesting one, the Northern Eagles. You won't hear that. You might hear that club name mentioned, but Lottie Takiri, 26 points in a game, not bad. Most tries in a season. Steve Renouf did it, and Darren Smith shared this record, so that's 27. Steve Renouf did it in 21 games in the 94 season. Darren Smith did it in 27 games in the 98 season. So Steve Renouf had a better try per game ratio than Darren Smith. Again, Darren Smith was a great player as well. The most points in the season is Darren Lockyer with 272 in 26 games in the 98 season as well, alongside Darren Smith. The longest win streak stands at 12 between round 14, 1997, which was the Super League season, and round 5 in the 1998 season. The longest losing streak went from round 13 in the... No. It's 13 from round 10, should I say, in the 2020 season to round 2 in the 2021 season. So a bit of overlap with their wooden spoon season into the... During the COVID period, basically, the team bottomed out. They've only appeared in the finals once since then. So we're in a bit of a down spell for the Broncos as things currently stand. So there we go. There are some of the interesting Brisbane Broncos records. Some really... look at some of the players that have set these records as well. And most of the records have actually come in more recent times. Because the club has been going since the 80s. No records were actually set in a season in the 80s at all. These are all 90s peak Brisbane Broncos, I think is the best way to describe when these records were set, in the mid-90s to the late 2010s. This is when the Brisbane Broncos are one of the top teams in the NRL. This is their successful period. And just look at some of the names that have set these records for the Brisbane Broncos. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. The Canberra Raiders is the next club on our list to look through, and they've got some fantastic records as well. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I will have some more content for you all very, very soon. But also don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and of course memberships are available as well. So I hope to see all of that done, and I'll have some more content for you all very, very soon.